What if I told you that while you've been debating whether to put your money in a savings account or buy another Tesla stock, billionaires have been quietly repositioning their entire portfolios for what they're calling the biggest wealth transfer opportunity in decades? Today, I'm going to reveal the exact sectors and strategies that billionaires are pouring billions into right now, and more importantly, how you can follow their lead with whatever amount you have to invest. But here's the thing that'll shock you. It's not what you think. While everyone's talking about AI stocks and crypto, the smartest money on the planet is making moves that would surprise most people. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why these billionaires are ignoring the obvious plays and betting big on sectors that most investors haven't even considered. Let me start with something that'll grab your attention. Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha himself, just made his biggest cash position in decades. We're talking about sitting on over $300 billion in cash. But here's what's fascinating. He's not just hoarding money because he's scared. He's positioning for something massive. And when I show you what he's preparing for, it's going to change how you think about investing in 2025. The first place billionaires are putting their money might surprise you. Energy infrastructure. Not the flashy renewable energy stocks that everyone's talking about, but the boring essential infrastructure that powers our entire economy. Think pipelines, storage facilities, transmission lines. Ray Dalio has been vocal about this, explaining that regardless of whether we go green or stick with traditional energy, we need massive infrastructure upgrades. Here's why this matters for you. While everyone's fighting over whether solar or oil is the future, billionaires are betting on the picks and shovels. They're investing in the companies that will profit no matter which energy source wins. And the beautiful thing about infrastructure investments is they typically provide steady, predictable returns, with inflation protection built in. But energy infrastructure is just the beginning. The second sector that's got billionaires excited is something most people overlook completely. Water rights and water technology. Yes, you heard that right, water. Jeff Bezos, through his various investment vehicles, has been quietly acquiring water rights across the American West. Michael Burry, the guy who predicted the 2008 housing crisis, has called water the next big investment theme. Think about this logically. Climate change, population growth, and industrial expansion are creating water scarcity in regions that never had to worry about it before. The billionaires see this trend years before it becomes obvious to everyone else. Companies that can purify water, transport it efficiently, or help industries use less of it are going to be incredibly valuable. For regular investors like us, this means looking at water utility companies, desalination technology firms, and businesses focused on water efficiency. It's not glamorous, but it's essential. And essential usually means profitable over the long term. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The third area where billionaires are deploying capital is in what I call crisis-proof businesses. These are companies that not only survive economic downturns, but actually benefit from them. Think dollar stores, discount retailers, debt collection agencies, and bankruptcy services. Bill Ackman has been particularly vocal about this strategy. He's not hoping for a crisis, but he's acknowledging that economic cycles are inevitable. By investing in businesses that prosper during tough times, billionaires are creating a hedge against their other investments. It's brilliant when you think about it. When their growth stocks get hammered, their crisis-proof investments start paying off. But here's what's even more fascinating. These same billionaires are also making massive bets on what they see as the next technological revolution. And no, it's not just artificial intelligence, though that's certainly part of it. They're betting on the convergence of multiple technologies creating entirely new industries. Mark Benioff and other tech billionaires are pouring money into biotechnology companies that are using AI to develop new drugs faster than ever before. We're talking about cutting drug development time from decades to years, and potentially from years to months. The first companies to crack this code are going to be worth trillions, not billions. Similarly, they're investing heavily in space technology, but not for the reasons you might think. Sure, there's the Mars colonization aspect that gets all the headlines, but the real money is in satellite technology, space-based manufacturing, and asteroid mining. These might sound like science fiction, but billionaires are treating them like inevitable realities. Here's something that might blow your mind. Elon Musk isn't just building rockets and cars. Through his various ventures and investments, he's positioning himself to profit from the complete transformation of how humans live, work, and travel. From underground transportation to brain-computer interfaces, he's betting on technologies that could reshape civilization itself. Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great, but how can regular people like us actually invest in these trends without having billions of dollars? That's exactly what I want to address next, because there are more opportunities than you might realize. First, let's talk about exchange-traded funds. ETFs allow you to invest in entire sectors without having to pick individual stocks. There are water ETFs, infrastructure ETFs, space technology ETFs, and even crisis-proof retail ETFs. You can start with as little as the price of a single share and get diversified exposure to the same trends billionaires are betting on. But here's where it gets really strategic. Billionaires don't just invest in trends, they invest ahead of trends. They're looking at demographic shifts, regulatory changes, and technological developments that won't be obvious to most people for another 5 to 10 years. Take healthcare technology focused on aging populations. Baby boomers are the wealthiest generation in history, and they're entering their highest healthcare spending years. Billionaires are investing in companies that provide medical devices, pharmaceutical solutions, and healthcare services specifically designed for older adults. This isn't just about treating disease, it's about enhancing quality of life for people who have money to spend on it. Real estate is another area where billionaire strategies can be adapted for smaller investors. But they're not buying traditional residential properties. They're focused on data centers, healthcare facilities, and logistics hubs. These are properties that benefit from long-term societal trends rather than short-term market fluctuations. For individual investors, this might mean looking at real estate investment trusts that focus on these specialized property types. You're essentially buying a piece of the same real estate empire that billionaires are building, just in smaller increments. Here's something fascinating about billionaire investment strategies. They're incredibly patient. While most people are looking for quick wins, billionaires are making bets that might not pay off for decades. They understand that the biggest returns come from identifying massive, slow-moving trends early and positioning themselves ahead of the crowd. This patience extends to how they think about market volatility. While everyone else is panicking about market crashes, billionaires are preparing to deploy capital when assets become undervalued. They maintain cash reserves specifically for opportunities that arise during economic uncertainty. But here's the most important thing I want you to understand about following billionaire investment strategies. It's not about copying their exact moves. Most of us can't afford to buy entire companies or make $100 million bets on unproven technologies. Instead, it's about understanding their thought process and applying those principles at our own scale. Billionaires invest in problems they believe need to be solved. They look for companies and technologies that address fundamental human needs or global challenges. They diversify across different types of assets and different time horizons. And they never invest money they can't afford to lose on speculative plays. The key insight is that billionaires are positioning for a world that looks fundamentally different from today. They're not just trying to get rich, they're trying to stay rich in an economy that's being reshaped by technology, climate change, demographic shifts, and geopolitical changes. This means thinking beyond traditional investment categories. It means considering how your investments will perform not just in different market conditions, but in different world conditions. What happens to your portfolio if supply chains are disrupted? What happens if certain regions become uninhabitable due to climate change? What happens if artificial intelligence eliminates entire job categories? These might seem like extreme scenarios, but billionaires are preparing for them right now. And that preparation is creating investment opportunities for those smart enough to recognize them. The final piece of the puzzle is understanding that billionaire investment strategies are ultimately about controlling risk while maximizing opportunity. They're not taking bigger risks than everyone else. They're taking smarter risks. They're diversifying across asset classes, geographic regions, and time horizons in ways that most investors never consider. So where should you put your money in 2025 if you want to invest like a billionaire? Start by identifying the mega trends that are reshaping our world. Climate change, technological convergence, demographic shifts, and resource scarcity. Then look for companies and investments that benefit from these trends regardless of short-term market fluctuations. Focus on essential services and products that people will need no matter what happens to the economy. Invest in businesses with strong competitive moats and pricing power, and always maintain enough liquidity to take advantage of opportunities when they arise. Remember, billionaires became billionaires by thinking differently about money and investments. They saw opportunities where others saw problems. They remained patient when others panicked, and they always kept their eyes on the long-term picture while everyone else was focused on quarterly results. The greatest wealth creation opportunities of the next decade are being shaped right now by the investment decisions billionaires are making today. By understanding their strategies and adapting them to your own situation, you're positioning yourself to benefit from the same mega trends that will create the next generation of massive fortunes. The question isn't whether you have enough money to invest like a billionaire. The question is whether you have the mindset to think like one. And if you do, 2025 could be the year everything changes for your financial future.